And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony show. Anthony, how are you, my friend?
I am doing very well on this beautiful Wednesday. It is. Yeah, nice little hump day here. Christmas around the corner. Came a little early for some Mets fans. But yeah, I'm excited to be on the show today, Brian.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And I just want to give a disclaimer to everyone. Today could get a little crazy. And just so everyone knows up front, it's just friendly conversation, friendly debating. There's no controversy here between me and Tony. So we're going to talk about that. But really quick, on a more lighter note, unfortunately, this morning, his family did announce Franco Harris, the former Pittsburgh Steelers running back, did pass away in his sleep, and it was just a crazy story. They're about to retire his number in a week or two, with the Steelers, and he was just on Mad Dog Unleashed yesterday, talking about the Immaculate Reception. And there was no tell in that interview that anything was wrong. I was listening to it on my way to the gym, so for that to happen, just one of those eerie things, almost very similar to John Madden passing away a couple days after the All Madden documentary came out last Christmas. So very sad news for the Pittsburgh Steelers family. So I just wanted to give the condolences once again to all of his friends and family. But we do have a lot to talk about in the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. The back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei, way, Cy Young, nada, where did that land?
Smoke to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
All right, Tony. So the big news overnight, and part of this came out yesterday. There was supposed to be a press conference for Carlos Correa signing with the Giants. They cancel it, and then at the wee hours of the night, the Mets come to an agreement with Carlos Correa, 12 years, $315 million. And of course, everybody knows I will have a lot to say about this, but I feel like it's only right. This is a Met thing. So we'll start with Tony here. Instant reaction, Correa, the Mets' new third baseman, 12 years, $315 million.
Right. Honestly, my first, initial reaction was just kind of some disbelief. I understand, yesterday there was news where they canceled the conference, physical pending, something's going on. But honestly, never did I really think that, he would have signed with another team, honestly. Sometimes, we hear of like these physicals, there's an issue with the physical, but most of the time it's just like a formality, whatever. So I'm honestly really like super curious as to what like actually happened. Because and for the quick turnaround, it must have literally been like no physical, on the phone with the Mets. I want to be in the Mets. Like, very confusing, dude. But I think in terms of him being on the Mets roster, honestly, I couldn't love it anymore. I understand big contract, a lot of years, and we had talked about it. And I honestly kind of forget what I said if I would give him a long contract. I think I may have said probably not. But honestly, I think, his annual average salary is, I think, 26 and change, which really isn't that much per year for a shortstop or third baseman or a player like him. I should say. So honestly, I really enjoy the pickup. It's a bat. I think he had he had 22 home runs last season. He was batting average around 295, 292, something like that.
291.
291. He had solid numbers. He's someone who's obviously experienced in the postseason. Understands how to be a leader in the clubhouse as well. This is someone who, obviously understand the whole Astros cheating scandal and everything, but someone who did try and reinvent himself a little bit, going to a different team, trying out the 1 year, see what I can do, double down on myself, see if a better team can pick me up that has a winning chance, and that's exactly what happened. I think after a solid season with a team that really wasn't competitive to start off with, I think putting him on a more competitive team, surrounded by people who he knows, like Verlander, he's buddy with Lindor, which is obviously going to help the infield there. Obviously, a great defensive player as well. I think it's a huge upgrade to our third base situation as is right now. And I think it opens up the door to moving other players to get, maybe someone from our bullpen in, like Brett Batty, for example. Obviously he plays third base. You can try and maybe put him at outfield and see how he develops, because obviously he's a youthful player, but if not, you can use him as a trading piece. I think it really helps not only our lineup, but the position our team is in general. I understand it's a long contract. Like with any long contract, you're taking a chance. Correa is still pretty young. I understand, for if he stays with the Mets this entire contract, he'll probably be a career Met at this point, for the rest of his career. Maybe, moving around different other teams after a contract, but I don't know, we'll see. But even so, I think, Steve Cohen is put in a position where, he said he wanted to win a World Series in 5 years. I said for him to be a good owner, I would want to see him do it in 3 years. And we've seen some phenomenal strides, I think, throughout his first, second, now entering his third year as owner. This is a time for, Mets fans to win right now. It was even with his first year as owner, people were saying he needs to do things to make us win right now. So I think he's answering the bell of what the Mets fans want, of what they need. Because although, yes, long contract, you're not really sure how it's going to pan out. Correa, it could pan out either way. He's helping our lineup right now. He's, like I said, he has that type of experience. I think he's just a great addition to the team.
All right. So
before you get to your I guess opinion though, well, what do you really think went took place behind doors here with the Giants, like with the physical and everything? What do you think is going on?
I think there is something. And
do you think that, because obviously, this deal with the Mets, pending physical,
right?
Do you think there's something wrong with him, or do you think he just didn't want to go to the Giants?
I think there is something. Could it have been buyer's remorse? Yes. Could it also have been Correa, wanting to go to the Mets to play with Lindor? They're both, from Puerto Rico.
But why wouldn't they do that before? Like, why wouldn't he just go to the Mets then?
I think he saw 350 as the legend himself, Michael Theophil, walks in. And you know what? I have to give credit for Michael here, wearing the Devil's hat on a 6-game losing streak. That's somebody who stands behind their team. It gets in the front of it.
Nice vest.
It doesn't hide. So we really got to respect Michael for that.
Brian picked the Devils to win last night. Eddie Mush.
And they Eddie Mushed, yes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I think. But I think it could be overblown. Also, though, it could be something that's lingering. And you think about Correa, he's definitely a guy that's pretty much every year missed some games for injury, some years more than others. You look at it too. He's played 150 games once in his career. So he's not an Iron Man. So I think there definitely was some type of injury. And I also think, I understand there's a difference in the tax levels between California and the Mets, but for him to surrender $35 million, I think that there's definitely some type of injury concern there.
Do you think though, you would imagine Steve Cohen is on the phone with Boris or who knows, maybe even someone from the Giants organization talking about what happened in the physical.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to know, right? There's no way that the Mets are going to get blindsided by something they don't know, right?
No, I think they do know, but I think, there's definitely an inherent risk there, no matter what the level of it is. So that's the first part of it. What is the injury? I'm sure, everybody's curious to know. I thought I saw something on Twitter about a back injury potentially.
That's what he struggled with, I think, right?
That's
up,
the
dude.
first part of it.
His 40th birthday yesterday.
And listen, like I said, there is a lot for me to talk to about this. And I think when I look at this deal for the Mets, I think, and I will explain my thought process here, but I think my initial first thought here, and this is me being 100% contrite and honest here.
Contrite.
I think this is actually a horrendous deal for the Mets. And I think the first part of it that's horrendous is the 12 years. You're talking about a guy that is already 28. So by the time that this ends, will be 40. And I think a big part of the value of Carlos Correa is his defense. But the thing is, he's played shortstop his entire career. He has not played one out at third base. So you're moving him to third base. You have no idea what it'll look like at third base. And I think too, in baseball, when we've seen guys only play one position and then switch positions, sometimes that will affect their offense. So that's the first part of this that I think some things to consider. And I understand too, the Mets, we talked about it all off season, needing to add a bat, to this lineup. But, I had a more powerful, like kind of home run hitting type player in mind. And I just think you look at Carlos Correa, he made his debut in 2015. He's only broken the 25 home run mark once, obviously, not hitting 30 home runs once. So he doesn't give you that much power. Initially when he came up, he did steal some bases. He actually hasn't stolen a base since 2019. So he doesn't offer you that. And I just feel like in terms of his offensive skill set, he kind of is a duplicate of what the Mets already have in terms of a guy that, makes contact a lot, will hit balls in the gap, but he doesn't have that power that they need. So when I just think about how this is going to translate over 12 years, I just look at this contract and I know this seems kind of crazy, but I think they would have, and I know he wouldn't have accepted this more than likely, obviously, but I think if this was a 5-year, $250 million contract, it would be a lot better because I really have a tough time seeing past the 5th year of this deal how this is not going to be a complete disaster. I just don't think he projects as someone who's going to be a quality player at an advanced age because he doesn't have that. The power trait is really the one thing that we've seen guys carry late in their careers. And what he's relying on, I do feel like has to do more with being a younger player, which in 5 years he won't be. So I just, that would be the thing that I would think about. And in the short term, I mean, he's definitely going to help. We'll see what happens at third base, but obviously the injury risk is there. So you're inheriting that. You're inheriting the risk of, just what he's going to be like over the life of this contract. So I just kind of find it funny. I was listening to, a variety of different shows this morning and listening on Twitter and just the way that it's covered. And I understand, whether we're talking about 98.7, whether we're talking about WFAN, the way they're covering it could not be more annoying and twisted in a way which doesn't exist. Because I think a lot of this, just listening to the shows this morning, they're trying to turn this into something to do about the Yankees, about how they didn't pursue him. And it's just like the Yankees didn't want him. The Yankees don't need him. This has nothing to do with the Yankees. The Yankees have had a great offseason. This is a Met move. And I just think, too, I'll be the first one to admit the Mets have brought in some talent this offseason, but I just think the way that people want to kind of bow down at the altar to Steve Cohen, it hasn't been that type of offseason. If you're going to commit this type of money to a player, I want a player like Aaron Judge that I know is the top of his game. And you could argue Correa might not even be a top 5 shortstop. So you're going to give him over $300 million. I just don't think it translates well in the future. I think it will help in the short term. But I think in the long term, this will end up being an albatross contract. And that's my honest opinion. It's nothing to do with the Mets. That's just my honest take on it. And I'm just kind of curious your thought process here.
I mean, listen, I said, like any long contract, I mean, you're taking a risk. But I mean, that is the price you pay if you want to pay him less annually. It really, like $26 million a year for him annually really isn't that much for a player of his caliber. I don't think. I mean, again, I not to bring in like a Yankee, but I mean, like, look how much Josh Donaldson was getting paid for. What was his contract? 4 years?
I think so.
Right? 4
Yeah.
years at like 25, 24.
Yeah, I guess next year I'll make 21. But obviously, they didn't get the full duration of that.
Right,
They only have 1 year left. As terrible as it is. But I mean, you can't argue the fact though that he is getting paid like, I don't know, he's that top 5 player in the league, and he's not. That's the thing.
I understand he's not, but I really do. I mean, you've seen some numbers with the Astros, and it wasn't even necessarily that the numbers were good over like the season, but I feel like his postseason numbers were just really good. And I mean, that's something that we didn't have. We get knocked out in the wild card to the Padres here because, I mean, our players were not performing as well as they should have. So I understand it's not exactly the big bat you're looking for. But I think it's still that addition you need. I mean, it would have been, I think, worse off for the Mets if they didn't get him.
But just I think what I go back to though, it also isn't the off season that the media is making it out to be. There's some disappointment in this off season. You think about the first part of it being that DeGrom leaves, and whether they could have done anything about that or not, it just affected. Of course, at the end of the day,
right,
they wanted to keep him. You're counting on Justin Verlander at 40 years old to be an ace. So obviously there's some risk there. The Quintana signing is very risky. While he did finish very strong with the Cardinals, the previous 3-4 years, he really, really wasn't good. So, I think about that. As far as the bullpen signings, and, they did announce that Ottavino's coming back for $17.5 million. I think that's good. I think in the short term, Edwin Diaz will be good. We'll see if in a couple of years gets hairy. But I'm just curious because I know how we are with, Yankees and Mets, if you believe me, but I promise you, Tony, that if the Yankees had the opportunity to match this contract, I wouldn't have done it. And I'm just curious. I want an honest answer here. Do you believe me when I say that?
I don't know, dude. If you were able to get Correa to play, like, if you wanted him at third base to get rid of Donaldson,
I wouldn't give him a 12-year contract. I would give him a 5-year contract, not a 12-year contract. I'm telling you, man. I feel like we're underestimating at 12 years. We had to live with A-Rod's contract. We're living with Donaldson. We're living with Hicks. I've learned my lesson. You can't give out a commitment for this guy unless he is Aaron Judge. That's what I'm saying. Aaron Judge, I would have given any contract in the world, but I just know Correa, he's good, but he's not great. And that shouldn't be $315 million. I think his contract value should be closer to that of Dansby Swanson's, which was around 177. I think 315 is ridiculous. And the fact that he was going to get 350 from San Francisco is even more insane. So I just think it's just such a big risk to take. And I just think there's a good chance that this doesn't work out.
No, but I'm thinking like you got to think shorter term almost though. So what if, even if the Yankees too, I mean, New York baseball is in a position, especially New York baseball. I mentioned the pressures on Steve Cohen to win a World Series. The Yankees really haven't done much in the last decade. There's so much pressure on the teams to win right now. So like Cohen, who's obviously, not really thinking twice about spending money, 5 years from now, if Correa's not working out and it's still the same Cohen, he's just going to move on to someone else.
Yeah, but listen, I understand he ate Robinson Cano's contract. He's not going to eat 7 years. That's over $150 million. He's not going to do it.
You don't think so? Come on, dude. And even so, you're telling me if within 5-6 years, even if it's more than that, and there's less in the back end of the contract, and he's still like decent, and the Mets don't, and Cohen doesn't want. He's saying someone else won't pick him up.
It's just, listen, I know what you said. There obviously is pressure to win. He's talking a big game. The fans have high expectations, but there's just ways to allocate money. And I truly don't think this is it. And if I'm the Mets, and I know it's about now, you don't want to wait, this and that, but it's like, would it have not been, better to wait, because there's a lot of buzz. Oh, they're going to get Ohtani, so that's a contract. What if you had just not done this? You get Ohtani the next year, and then the following offseason, you get Juan Soto. You know what I mean? Juan Soto is a guy that I want to give a 12-year contract to, not Carlos Correa. I think that's the thing. I think it's foundational money, and I just don't think Carlos Correa is worthy of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think time will tell. Obviously, with the contract, time will tell on how Steve Cohen, reacts, to seasons that are upcoming, even the middle of the season, trade deadline. I wonder where. Again, Mets obviously are having high expectations on where they should be, during the season. So it should be interesting to see how Cohen, spends the rest of his money. We do have a lot of comments here, Brian.
Prefer is coming in.
I do want to think of, because it's pretty crazy. I mean, I understand. Like, I get where you're coming from with the whole like making it a Yankee thing, but also, I think people call into those radio shows that are Yankee fans, and they kind of do it to themselves.
But the hosts are doing it. That's the thing.
Right.
Like, and they're trying to say, oh, like Hal's asleep, like Prefer commented it. And it's just like, I don't think I could, overstate this.
Right.
I am so excited for Oswald Peraza and Anthony Volpe. To me, that is has so much more chance of success than a deal like this does. I just think that's how you win in baseball. We've seen the Astros, who just won the World Series with Jeremy Pena. He's not working on a 12-year contract. He's a guy that they scouted, they developed, and they brought him up. And I think those things give you the biggest chance at sustainability, not overpaying for players. So I will take my chances with Peraza and Volpe. And I'm going to tell you this right now. And listen, some people may look at this as crazy. I said it, I believe, on Twitter earlier. I think Oswald Peraza offensively this year will have a better year than Carlos Correa. And defensively, really, because, Correa's going to be playing third.
It's going to translate well.
What's going to translate well?
Correa to third base.
But, you had to admit, though, it's like one of those things. It's like, but you haven't seen it, not even for a second. A lot of times guys switch positions. Well, they played a little here. Like, there's literally no tape.
Right.
There's no experience. So,
but
there is some risk involved with that.
Of course, there's a little risk. But, Correa is an athletic player. He's an athletic human. I think shortstop in general as a position can translate well to third base. I think having, the people around him in the infield as well is going to help. Having McNeil at second, having, Lindor at short. I think it'll be fine. But again, let's get to some comments, because they're rolling in here. And a lot from Prefer here. He goes, I have been a Mets fan for 40 years, and I have never been so absolutely stunned and blindsided by an acquisition. DTV Tony, order that Correa Mets jersey. Maybe we'll wait till the physical clears, at least till the physical clears here, because I still think it's up in the air. Before Correa left the Giants at the altar, the shocker reminds me when Bill Belichick spurned the Jets by re-signing from the head coaching position. I think that's maybe, I guess so. Belichick, I'm sure Brian really doesn't want Belichick around the Jets organization here. But first, as I know what happened, the Mets are so damn sexy. My baseball insider said to me, Beatty and Alvarez going to the Angels for Ohtani in July. Oh man, that would be pretty crazy. Obviously, it's funny because I think, a lot of fans now in New York, are Mets or Yankees are having their eyes on Ohtani, knowing that, I believe next year he will be the free agent trade deadline. If you're the Angels, you're going to want to trade him, so just so you get some more value to him. But I would honestly think, I don't know. I think Beatty honestly leaves the Mets earlier. There's been some talk that the Mets want to pick up a closer in Liam Hendricks, which I'm pretty much about. So having Brett Beatty, as trade bait, I think would be good. But obviously, time will tell there. Before also says, the Mets done spending. Do you approve of Scott Boras and Steve Cohen love affair? So far, the Mets spent $800 million for the 2023 season. I think just Scott Boras represents a lot of upper echelon players. So, do you feel MLB will drop the luxury tax and make a hard salary cap rule due to Steve Cohen spending? Honestly, possibly. Because I would imagine, and of course, this is also the narrative on ESPN Radio or the Fan, how other owners how they're going to be viewing Steve Cohen. Obviously, smaller market teams that really can't compete with this. The salary ceiling is getting higher and higher every year. And of course, a person like Steve Cohen who doesn't care about the luxury tax, obviously, is going over it and still paying that tax. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go into something. You know how these owners are with their money. Especially when they're all pooled together. So, Before also says Barnes Correa rant is sour grapes. Honestly, wasn't 0%. As sour as I really thought it would be.
I think it's not. I didn't make anything up. That's all I'll tell you, Tony. I did not make up one thing.
No, everything I said
was factual.
I know. And normally you make up a lot of things, Brian. I'm kidding. Steve Cohen doesn't care about the money. He will eat bad contracts. You're looking at Correa contract like a broke person. I guess that's kind of more along the lines of what I was saying. Whereas, again, Cohen right now, bang, doesn't care. Yankees shortstop starters, IKF, LOL says prefer. Michael says because he cheated, are the Mets going to cheat for him to perform in the said hypothetical playoffs the Mets would make?
Michael, very good there. If we could. Do we have that bite?
Honestly, I may have got rid of it yesterday. Oh, wait, no, got it.
Very good there.
Dude. Well, anyway, when you look at Correa's numbers, right? Like I said, last season, he's not on the Astros, 22 home runs, 292 batting average. You would make the assumption that he's not cheating. Are those numbers really much different from what he was pulling with the Astros? I don't really think so, bud.
But that's the thing, though. Like I said, once again, you look at all of these seasons, they're nice, but nothing pops off the page.
Right? No, I'm saying like Michael is saying,
but even that, with it, that even, you know what I mean, like verifies the point more. Even with that, he still didn't have crazy seasons.
Right.
So what are we talking about here?
Well, I'm saying, Michael is making the point where, he was cheating.
No, I'm aware of that. I'm saying it just kind of adds to what I'm saying. And I'm actually kind of curious what you think.
To what I'm saying.
No, I actually do have a question for you. If your best guess at it, I want games, homers, RBIs, and home runs for next year.
All right. So games, what was he at last year? Like 130? 138? I could see, honestly,
136, but yeah.
I don't know, maybe around the 145 range, 150.
Okay. Batting average. Hit 291 last year.
I think it's going to be maybe like 285.
Okay.
A little lower.
Home runs.
28, 27.
So career high.
Yeah.
And RBIs.
What did he have last year?
64.
70? Oh, I'll give him 70.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I could justify it for that type of production.
I don't know. I understand those aren't crazy numbers, but they are obviously, like career highs in home run, batting average,
right,
decent for him.
Could potentially be a stretch, new team, new ballpark,
but
new position.
I do think he's going to rise to this occasion. I mean, this is another player who, again, like I mentioned, he's not crazy old yet. He is someone who kind of takes command of the clubhouse. I think he's someone who, I understand the cheating scandal and everything, but this is someone who is trying to reinvent himself as a player. You saw what he did with Minnesota, to kind of have a year like he did, I think, off of, obviously, a couple of years of him being looked at as, a total rat of the league and someone who shouldn't even be playing the game, I think says a few things. And I think you put him on a Mets team with people he knows, people who can, I think, uplift him, a good clubhouse. I mean, the Minnesota's team, come on, dude. I mean, I don't think the Twins are really conducive to anyone doing very well, or uplifting a player to newer heights. But again, I guess time will tell. Before says Michael's wrong. Before also says Steve Cohen worth over $20 billion. You can't take it with you. I mean, it is going to be pretty interesting to see where kind of prefer where Steve Cohen kind of goes with his money. My mother says, hello, Aunt and Barnes.
Hello.
Hi, Mom. And then Andrew Hudson says, this is Henry Hudson.
And who's Henry? I mean, I know he did comment about our Madden game.
Henry Hudson was in here before. Yeah, right. Well, hello, Andrew. Thanks for tuning in, dude.
Or Henry. We're not sure which one.
Or Henry or Andrew.
Do you remember
me?
For Madden?
Were you not asking Brian his gamer tag for Madden? Yeah, bud. So I appreciate you kind of coming in here for the sports report. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube, by the way, and be on the lookout for NHL, dude.
Yeah, that is coming in the new year.
Wow. So obviously a lot of things just broke down there, a lot of comments. But I don't know. I'm pretty excited for this year, dude. I think 99 days until baseball.
I believe so. So I'm excited, and I know the Yankees are actively working the phones. I'm sure some type of trade is going to be made. I think in terms of free agency, unless it's a outfielder at lower dollars.
By the way, Michael Brantley,
I think it's going to be a trade. Michael Brantley
just signed back to the Astros 1 year.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want him. I mean, I think he's older.
Not even the 1 year though. I think he had still a solid pop.
No, he doesn't.
No, all right, fine, dude. Whatever.
I'm just saying he doesn't. Like,
solid pop.
I don't know what solid pop.
I think 1 year. Solid pop.
What does he hit? 40 home runs the last 7 years? I mean,
I feel like aren't you a sucker for 1 year deals? I thought try them out.
No, I mean,
take a flyer.
I'll take Conforto on a 1 year deal, but it seems like they're talking about this guy Varsho from the Diamondbacks. I don't know. If you're familiar with him.
No, not really.
I think he hit like 27 home runs last year. He's like 26, 27, whatever it is. But yeah, I could see that maybe with Glaber, and I think the pipe dream for them anyway is Brian Reynolds. But I think Brian Reynolds carries an unreasonable price tag in terms of trade compensation. It almost rivals that of what Correa got with this deal. I think it's just too much. So I kind of think that's not going to happen, but I do think Varsho or something of less significance may happen. There was talk about Max Kepler, and it's just like, we cannot do that.
No,
that's Joey Gallo 2.0. So I'm very excited. I love the direction that the Yankees are going, and I can't wait for the Subway Series next year. I think that's going to be fun in terms of the regular season. Hopefully get one in the postseason, but obviously one thing at a time. And also just some news yesterday. One thing we talked about was Brandon Drury, and he does sign with the Angels, 2 years, $17 million. And me and you, figured at 30 years old, after hitting 28 home runs and driving in 87 RBIs and being able to play infield, outfield, that this is a good deal for the Angels. And before the Correa signing, we felt, that could be a possible landing spot with the Mets. So I do think, he was undervalued here, and I like, the direction that the Angels are going. I think there is some hope there to finally kind of, turn the corner, after quite a rough stretch. And I know they want to do everything that they can to try and keep Shohei Ohtani. I know it seems more than likely that he's going to be dealt. However, Artie Moreno, the embattled owner, expected to sell the team.
Really? You in the market, Brian?
So you think about that, that might, change his mind if you get, a big gun in there to buy the team that's committed to making the right moves. That might change his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think though the Drury signing was good. And also former Yankee legend Matt Carpenter, 1 year, $12 million with a player option for 2024 with the San Diego Padres. So, congratulations to him on getting that type of deal, just because, he was working on a minor league contract with the Yankees last year. And he still got that deal despite, not being able to hit water falling out of a boat once he returned from that foot injury. So congratulations to him. It's a shame that his Yankees story had to end the way that it did. But there will always be fond memories there. And I'll never forget the time that I was at the Yankees Red Sox game and he got a curtain call from the fans. That'll always be a special game for me. And we wish him well. He had a good run with the Yankees, that's for sure. And it's just, I know you mentioned 99 days, but it really is such a shame that it's still so far, Tony. I know we have stuff to get us through, but there is nothing like the smell of baseball, the diamond, being at the game. I'm so pumped to go to games next year. It's not even funny. I definitely want to go to a Legends game just once next year. I know it'll cost you, but the buffet, the waiter, all-time classic, Tony. It will be an all-time classic. And I'm sure, maybe last second deal too, you can get a kind of a discount on those Legend seats.
You think so?
Mhm.
All right.
3, maybe. At best. Probably 4, It's like, wait, do we just go to Arthur Ave instead and sit in the bleachers or no?
Oh man.
Anyway, Tony, really, other than that, I don't really think there's any other baseball news unless there's something that you've heard out there.
Baseball news. No, I did mention Mets possibly in on Liam Hendricks.
When I said,
yeah, I know. Honestly,
deal.
What?
I said after the Ottavino deal, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, obviously, still holes to fill in the bullpen here. I mean, it's obviously Lugo gone, May gone,
Ottavino
back, which is nice. Love to see that.
Obviously, Diaz.
Yes, and then it's like, oh man,
David Peterson.
Yeah, dude. I mean, what do we throw? I mean, if we keep Carrasco in rotation, you have Peterson, maybe McGill out of the bullpen. Yeah. Joey Lucchesi. Oh God, dude, get him off the roster. Honestly,
you're tight.
Yeah, he sucks. That guy.
Yeah, he does suck.
But I think other than that, dude, I don't really hear much more murmuring.
Yeah. I mean, really, you're just thinking about the board. I mean, who the hell is even left?
Honestly, before
Octavino. What do you think that is?
Octavino. I don't know, dude.
It's not like he's like an October legend. We do have breaking news.
Wait.
Aaron Judge has been named the new captain of the Yankees. Yankees chairman Hal Steinbrenner revealed this news at the press conference Wednesday morning that was primarily set up to announce Judge's new 9-year, $360 million agreement. He is the 16th captain in Yankee history and the first to wear the C since Derek Jeter.
Did you say 16th?
16th.
Captain.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was way less than that.
But you think back to the Ruth days. I mean, it goes Donnie Baseball, it goes way back. And that deal with the Astros for Brantley, 1 year, $12 million. I think a little rich after a struggle of a season last year, only appeared in 64 games. So yeah, let's go Yankees. So pumped about the path forward and the chase for number 28. But let's go now to the worlds of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot.
Big hit on the far side by the car! He flattens Jordan's skull! Oh my goodness!
That's the gun right back. Terrifying and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin.
It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores! The winner in overtime!
All right, Tony. If you would give me the justification and synopsis on the loss to the Penguins. I believe 3-2 last night.
3-2, correct.
Not mistaken. I'm kind of just kidding, though. I know the Rangers have obviously had won 7 in a row going into this game. Nevertheless, I feel like there were some miscues that cost them, and it was a game that they could have won in Pittsburgh.
This game they should have won, but obviously they didn't, so I guess they shouldn't have, because I hate when people say that. But all right, so let's take you through this game here. No more than a blink of an eye into this game. You get a score by Victor Trocheck here. No, sorry, Chris Kreider was actually the first goal, assisted by Trocheck. Obviously, what a way to start off the game. 20 seconds in. I'm always a little weary of games where we score early, though, because and with any team, really, we saw it. When we played the Devils, when the Devils played us, they score early, we come back. When we played them, we scored early, they came back, beat us. But nonetheless, I mean, obviously you're still happy. You're up 1-0. You're thinking, wow, all right, dude, like 20 seconds in, we had a little bit of a breakaway here. Trocheck with the vision, Kreider with the move, and he scores. This is great. I don't think the Rangers had another shot on goal until the end of the first period. Like literally no shots on goal. Like they didn't have a true shot on goal because they had one shot on goal that was a goal, and then after that they had nothing for probably when there was like till like 9 minutes in maybe left of the period, I should say. It was all Pittsburgh in the first period, basically, despite the score. A big reason why it was only 1-0, we were in the lead, was Igor Shesterkin making some great saves, flashing the glove, quick with the leg pads and stuff like that. Of course, Rangers making good plays defensively and everything, but where like no shots on goal for the rest of the game, like what are you doing, dude? It was so stupid. And it's pretty crazy because Rangers ended up having more shots on goal than the Penguins, because in the third period, end of the second period, they kind of woke up a little bit more because in comes second period. Again, great defense by the Rangers. Again, leaning on Shesterkin, that's totally fine. That's what he's there for. Miller, Lindgren making good defensive plays here. But I mean, it's you just have to have better offense. And again, they had good scoring opportunities. But unfortunately, in Tristan Jarry here was making some great saves. He was also
I thought he sucks.
I didn't say he sucked.
I thought he was overrated. You did
Did I
kind
say
of
overrated?
I don't know if you necessarily said that exactly, but you just he's not that good. That's
I mean,
kinda
yeah,
what
I
you
just
said.
think honestly in big pressure spots, I just don't see it right now. Obviously early season here, pretty solid. 26 saves, 20 on 28 shots attempted, obviously. But I mean, it's just kind of a shame to see. Just there was just not enough. I mean, I hate to say not enough offense because you had 38 shots on goal, but there could have been so much more offense.
What happened?
I think it was some players being selfish, honestly. Which I think is, again, especially the third period, so like, all right, so second period, power play, Malkin scores, bang, it's like 1-1. And then I think after that, it was a power play goal by Rust.
Yeah, right before the period ended. That's the one we were talking about. We thought it was Malkin.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. I mean, that's your heads up your derriere there to allow that goal.
Well, that was the tip-in goal.
It shouldn't have happened. There's 12 seconds left. You're
I know,
telling me you can't not let that happen?
Obviously, you're letting Pittsburgh kind of creep back into this game, tying you, taking the lead on power plays, right? So you have to be careful with the power play here. I mean, Pittsburgh, again, I mentioned they rely on mostly three guys here. Of course, they have others, Raquel, Rust, whatever. But you give Pittsburgh power play opportunities, veteran teams. They know exactly how to exploit that. Speaking of exploiting power plays, Rangers were 0-for-3 last night in the power play. That can't happen. Again, talk about no offense. If there's ever a time to have some offense, it's going to be on the power play. You have to do a better job. When you're having so many shots on goal in 5-on-5 hockey, take your time on the power play. That's the time to pass and look for that kind of perfect shot. I understand, you're down, and that's where the Rangers kind of got jittery. All of a sudden, it's the end of the second period, going into the third period play here, and you're down 2-1. It was just a few minutes ago, you're up 1-0, and now you don't have the lead. So third period comes in. This is where, again, Rangers jitteriness, the 7-game win streak, young team just kind of finding themselves, blown defense here. Crosby and Gusnell on a nice 2-on-1 for them. And again, veteran players, Crosby eats that shit up. And he's able to score there. Of course, a couple minutes later, you get the veterans of Trocheck and Kreider the opposite way, 2-on-1. Kreider puts one behind Jarry here. Again, you're happy. You're down 3-2 though, still. And you just can't perform on the power play. And it's something that the Crosby goal, one, obviously better defense should have been had, but I think Shesterkin could have had this too. I think maybe even he panicked a little bit because he left his 5-hole wide open, and Crosby was just able to put it past him. It's a shame. The other two goals, I really wouldn't blame him because, again, power play. Russ had the deflection goal. Can't do much about that. Malkin maybe should have had it, but he was screened. So I think the Crosby goal is something Shesterkin would have liked to have back. But again, blown defense here, 2-on-1. It sucks. And then on top of that, late in the game here, they do the pull goalie thing. And they actually have some great chances. Probably one of the best shifts of the game is with the last minute of the game here, open net, empty net for us, extra man on the ice, and just Trocheck, Kreiders, Benajad, Panarin, they're all on the ice. They're just moving this puck, getting shots on goal. But there was a point right before Panarin's last shot on goal where, again, I think it was a little bit of him trying to be a hero here. And instead of passing the puck out to the point, which I think would have been better to maybe force a slap shot from the point, he tried to get inside on one of the Penguins players, ends up losing his puck. He ends up gathering himself and getting a shot off. But I mean, I think a little bit more of a heads up play to get to the point and settle down and get a quality shot off. I think, again, they were a little too panicky. But again, it sucks to have this loss last night. But again, I think this Rangers team is still learning a lot about themselves. These are the types of losses where they should be kind of, going back to the locker room, evaluating, looking at themselves and how they played individually as a team and everything, and then move on from. You really shouldn't think twice about it. Pittsburgh's a good team. They've been hot recently. And again, like I said, this is, I think, a good learning experience for the Rangers to kind of, when you're down, just stay relaxed, stay calm, and pick your shots,
My one thing that actually doesn't have to do with this game specifically, and obviously, tough loss. It just you wanted to keep that streak going.
Yeah.
But what a horrendous job by Gary Bettman and the higher ups in the NHL for scheduling here. So not only did we have to wait 2 months plus to play the Penguins.
Yeah.
Now we have to wait almost 3 months till we play them 3 times in 6 days. So we don't play all season, and then we play 3 times in 6 days in March. That's terrible. I mean, this is a rivalry game. Everybody wants to see it. How do you not spread those games out so they all have a lot of meaning to them? When you clump 3 in 6 days or whatever it is, that takes away some of the juice.
I think maybe they're thinking like, oh, Penguins, Rangers rivalry. Going to be a lot for at the end of the season, I guess, for when games matter more, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah, I know you don't like that, especially because it's so close. At least if it was like March 1st, March 10th, March 18th. All right, at least it's a little spread out.
Figure it out a little bit.
3 and 6 is insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the offense, it's tough, and the way I look at it now is, you got this game, I believe, tomorrow in the Garden against the Islanders. The Islanders have had our number since last year, so we got to win that game. And I know it's like, listen, you won 7 in a row, you lost 1 game, now you're talking about must wins. But I think there's a hierarchy in New York, in the New York area, and you want to be on top of that. And I don't think you can lose games to the Devils, to the Islanders, and kind of hang your head high. So I really want to see them beat the Islanders, and I'm kind of curious to kind of wonder if this will show me. But I just want to know, like, is it just 2 in a row? Have we lost 4 in a row to the Islanders? Like, what is it? We only played once this year, right? And lost. That was the game I think
so,
Boomer was at.
Yeah.
Twice.
Twice.
And we lost both games. And I know we lost the game that me and you went to last year.
Yeah. Like 3-0.
Yeah.
But I think we played them again after that and beat them, I thought.
But even if that is the case, it's 3 out of 4.
Right.
The Islanders, I know, have scuffled of recent. I want to say, well, at least right here, they've won, 1 out of 5. And I want to say it's like 1 out of 8 potentially. I could take a look at the full schedule here after a good start. So, the record is still strong.
The record is strong. They're 33-18.
18 and
Sorry,
13.
18-13. 33 games played. But, they're right behind us with 38 8 points here. Obviously, standing implications here early, but Rangers are at 41 here, tied with Tampa Bay. Islanders and Washington right behind us, tied at 38. So, I mean, again, you talk about having a hierarchy in New York, them coming into the Garden, too. Obviously, you want to win this, especially when you're tight in the standings with them now,
And with the Devils losing 6 in a row, it's
Yeah.
really opened up things for us.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it seemed like dream season for the Devils. We can't even touch them. We're scuffling. Gallant might get fired, and then here we are, and we are ready to seize it back. But I think it is important to start Thursday with a win. Obviously, we'll talk about that, when the time comes. But I just want to see, okay, we just had a big winning streak. Let's not, on the opposite side of things, start some type of losing streak. That we've worked too hard to get back to this point. Let's not have to do the same thing over again just to catch up where we already were.
Right.
So I hope, like you said, that this ends up being a learning experience for the Rangers, and that they can only grow and move forward from this loss. Any thoughts? Halak has only started 1 out of 7 games. You think potentially a Halak game here? Or?
Against the Islanders? No.
Hopefully not. Because they don't play till Tuesday, so that would be. But it's just an example that they have done this before. That's all I would say. And just looking at what's ahead, Tony. So next Tuesday, home to the Capitals, and then it's on the road for Tampa and Florida. Those aren't easy games, but Thursday and Sunday, so you have some time in between. And then back home for the Hurricanes before hitting the road to Canada for the Canadiens, and then back this way for the Devils. So you got some quality teams mixed in there. So I think it'll be, a true litmus test. And I'm just, I guess it's like people are off or whatnot, but minimum ticket to get in the door Tuesday against Washington. Take a guess.
Minimum ticket? I don't know, 115?
$219.
What?
Isn't that crazy? I don't think it has anything to do with the Caps either. I think it's like, people are off work, they get hammered and don't have to wake up early the next morning, right?
That is outrageous. Cheapest to get in the door? Like just ticket price before.
I mean, I didn't look up specific tickets, but you know how they list it on the schedule?
Yeah, as low as whatever.
And that might not even be with fees.
Probably isn't.
That's actually the highest game that's on the schedule, literally. That's crazy. But
it's one thing about the Garden that I don't like. Because it's in the city, there's so many like businesses that like take clients out to games that they can spend the money.
Right.
So they raise ticket prices like, oh, sure. And it's a bunch of fucking, I mean, you, especially like seats by the glass too. You always see is fucking guys in suits and shit.
Right.
Should be us, Brian.
Well, and
should
also,
be you and me.
It is the Rangers too, because I want to say the Knicks, definitely have a lot better deal on tickets.
Yeah.
I don't know what the reason for that is, but
hockey's better.
I mean, hard to argue, But Tony, that being said here, I'm just kind of curious. We're going to talk about the games tonight, but one game I just wanted to talk about from yesterday, we saw Chokery's Hurricanes 4-1 over the Devils, who, like I mentioned, 6 in a row. And I was just texting Chokery earlier, and he was saying how he can't wait to go to another game.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, the Devils could not lose, and now all of a sudden they can't win.
Yeah.
Do you think that we will see them eventually settle in between the way they're playing now and the way they were playing before, or what do you think lies ahead here?
No, I think they will settle. I mean, hey, I understand, losing 6 games in a row, especially to some of the teams they played. Obviously, first meeting for the Devils against Carolina this season. And Carolina, off to a shaky start, slowly became like the 4th or 5th best team in the league so far in the standings. And you attribute that to obviously great goaltending, good offense, and we'll get some of the Devils' losses here. I mean, Flyers obviously 2-1. You don't want to see that. Panthers, you could see, a struggling team here. Rangers hot. Stars hot. Lost to the Islanders 6-4. I mean, they haven't won. The last game they won was against the Devils, No, sorry, against the Blackhawks. But I think they're going to settle. Again, you talk about a young team with not a lot of experience, not a lot of winning experience, not a lot of win streak experience, not a lot of doing well, having pressure on you experience. They're going to bounce back. I mean, you really just don't see much. Talent just doesn't come and go like that. I think it's just a matter of time. And we saw it with the Rangers even too, having such a talented team, a horrific start to the season. The Devils are just unfortunately in that mode right now. They'll bounce back.
And how do you feel? And I know, so much can happen between now and the end of the season. But how do you feel like we match up with them? I know what are we 1-1 so far with the Devils?
Yeah, no,
2-1 or 2-1.
Well, no, sorry, they're 2-1 against us.
We're 1-2. Do you think it's a close matchup? Let's say there's a playoff series in the horizon.
Honestly, yes. I would honestly be a little interested to see how the Rangers would do against them in the playoffs specifically. Again, I mentioned Devils being young, not a lot of playoff experience. Rangers, although obviously the young players, have playoff experience, even the younger players just from last season have a lot of playoff experience going deep, Eastern Conference Finals. Excuse me. I think we definitely have the edge because of our experience there in the playoffs. And also at this point, I think our speed is just up with theirs now at this point. And then, Vanacek on his game, Shesterkin on his game. I think it's going to be a real head-to-head matchup. It really could go either way, but I think, again, our experience would trump theirs and we would know what to do late in games, stuff like that, especially, again, in the playoffs. So yeah.
Yeah, so I really hope we get that. That would be unbelievable.
Crazy.
And I just want to, this year too, I just want to go to a playoff game. I don't care how much it is. I feel like we got to go.
Brian.
Do you remember looking up last year what the lowest price ticket?
I remember a $300 price range getting thrown out there.
So you don't think there's any first round?
Honestly, no, I think we were looking at the seats we had when we went though, which were decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to remember what. Do you think those were $1.50 back then?
Yeah, they were.
The ones we went to.
When we went to, they were I think
$1 or a little around that.
Yeah, maybe 140.
I can probably look it up, but
yeah.
But I just want to go.
So much fun, dude.
Yeah, I just love that type of environment. So that being said, we're going to make some selections. There's enough for 3 each for tonight. And after a coach's review before the show, after you threw the challenge flag, you now have a 3-point lead in the pick segment after we reviewed the tape, 52-49. So if you would, sir, start with your first selection of the night.
Okay, dude. So here we go. Some good games, honestly, tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. Again, I really I enjoy picking the Lightning, but I hate picking the same team over and over again. Honestly, it almost is like the.
But isn't this a Brian Elliott special too?
Yeah, probably the back-to-back, the loss.
Elliott or Halak? Honestly, is it close or no? It's got to be pretty close, right?
Honestly, Halak's last game he started.
Last 2, right?
Yeah, last 2. Not terrible, dude.
Yeah. But one of them was on Michael's birthday. I think that was a special occasion.
Oh, yeah.
And then we played Chicago. They're the worst team in the league. I think against the Devils, he could give up 7 goals, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think Elliott is that bad that he might be better.
I think so. Elliott's bad, dude.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't even want to look at that. I don't even know. Man, some tough picks here.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to go with, but even the Avalanche, Canadiens.
Avalanche have been sketchy.
I know I think they've been winning their past couple of games, but
just in totality this year,
they won 4 of the last 5 games, I guess, huh? But tight games. 3-2 against Philly, 3-2 against St. Louis overtime. 1-0 shootout against the Islanders. I guess the Montreal Canadiens just are not scoring enough. And I know it's funny because Colorado's minus 285, and I'm just kind of debating on who to take. But I guess, I guess give me Colorado here. I understand, Montreal, Colorado struggling. Montreal that has got that young dude. I forget his name, but he loves to fight, and he's a great fighter. Good, contact, gets shots on goal. But I mean, Montreal just isn't scoring. I mean, what do you got? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They scored 8 goals in the past 5 games. That's not great. Of course, Colorado doesn't do much better. I don't know. Give me Colorado 3-1.
All right.
Not even happy about that.
Interesting. Like you said, I mean, definitely, it's just not a lot of give me's tonight. This is definitely tough, but I'm gonna do it till it hurts. I knew you were looking for the bite, but we're gonna ride him till it hurts us too much. Just because I don't know what
You make a
to
lollipop.
pick. I'm gonna go with my guy Vizmelka in Vegas. Vegas minus 305 today. And the Coyotes have showed some grit this year. Not that they win every game, but they're in most games.
Battle of the trenches.
And we've seen the Golden Knights from time to time, not show up. So I think this is a game. We get vintage Vizmelka.
Heavy
we get
dog.
Keller for 2.
Dog, a tight dog here.
2-1 over the Golden Knights in Vegas. Upset of the night. You said it on Twitter yesterday. Lock in the Coyotes every night. Every night.
Yeah, dude. They're the odds for them to win the cup.
Yeah, do it.
Think about it.
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it. Gotta go.
Go right now. Don't have a second. Quick, gotta go. I feel like you love playing those bites for screen time.
Yeah,
just like randomly
dude.
mix them in at the beginning.
Oh, it's so funny. All right. Next pick here. Let's just fucking go with the gut here. Give me the Red Wings against Tampa Bay at home. Detroit, Dylan Larkin, my boy, Ville Husso. I feel like, honestly, Red Wings kind of tapered off a little bit. I was kind of hot on them at the beginning of the season. They were doing well. Now, all of a sudden, they're not really doing much. And I think Tampa Bay, the back-to-back, tough loss last night. I think they scored 1 goal against Toronto. Absolutely crazy. Detroit, speaking of not doing well, they're on at least a 5-game losing streak right now. They've lost to fucking Washington, Ottawa, Minnesota, Carolina, Dallas. And I can't believe I don't understand they're at home, but Tampa Bay minus 165. It's crazy stat line. Even so, give me Detroit, bounce back victory. I know it. I would say 3-1.
All right. I'm gonna go with Minnesota. It's a back-to-back scenario.
Yeah.
For the Ducks. So I just think they're gonna have a tough time. So I just and they literally are.
Dogs are barking.
The worst hockey team I think I've ever seen. Honestly,
The
and it's
Ducks?
just crazy. We were kind of hyped about them last year.
I know.
They had a good start, faltered down the stretch, and haven't really recovered since then. And obviously,
It's crazy.
everyone's a year older now. So I just really don't see the path forward. And I think Kaprizov can take advantage of the weak goaltending. No matter
Very
who's in
weak
net,
goaltending.
they're going to give about 4 goals a game. Give me Minnesota 5-2. Kaprizov the hat trick. The Ducks closer and closer to that number 1 pick.
The Ducks fly together, dude.
Yeah.
All right, last pick, huh?
Yeah. Gotta go.
Gotta go. Let's do the quick pick here. I know I keep saying that, but shit, dude. Dallas over the Oilers seems tempting. Oh, dude, daily face-off. Just totally forgot. Maybe you never know, Brian.
You never ever. No.
Bobrovsky confirmed for Florida. Who's so confirmed for the Red Wings? Obviously, Elliott unconfirmed yet, but obviously he's on the docket here. So I mean, come on. Yeah, Georgiev against Jake Allen. I feel more confident about Colorado right now. Peter Mrazek against the Predators. Trying to find out that game. Odinger, Stuart Skinner. Oh man, do I just take the Preds again? Preds minus 195 against the Chicago Blackhawks. Do they know something I don't know?
Probably.
Both kind of teams on the schneid. I'm gonna pick a team that Brian enjoys picking. I'm gonna go with the Oilers here.
Wow, you don't usually take them.
I almost never take the Oilers because I really don't believe in that team. But I just think Skinner, good goalie. McDavid and Draisaitl have been kind of hot, I guess. I'm just looking at their Edmonton losing 4 of the last 5 games
Due
here.
for a win.
Definitely due for a win. And then they're the dog. They are the dog, huh?
Yeah.
Give me the dog, Edmonton. 4-2.
Interesting.
I
So
know I'm not. These picks don't.
no, I know the matchups are tough. They last pick, gonna go with the Predators, and it's only just because I have to. Don't have another choice. Blackhawks are up there with the Ducks as some of the worst teams in the NHL. So Soros, nice game, and I'm gonna say 4-2 Preds. In a definitely an interesting, if not odd, night in terms of matchups in the National Hockey League.
I'll
Tony.
say, dude. Manny Santiago says, "Quack quack,
Quack quack." What is that from?
Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks.
Have you seen the Mighty Ducks?
No, I've heard of the movie, and I know because they used to be called the Mighty Ducks, right? They changed the name when Disney owned the team.
I don't think they were called the Mighty Ducks.
I kind of think they were.
I don't honestly remember. That was a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
But they definitely had the jerseys.
Right.
I think I don't think that was like their official name, but they were like referred to as.
I think I've dropped this name before. Jean-Sebastian Jaguar.
I don't think you have.
Yes. I know
Really?
you know him.
Yes.
Legends in Anaheim.
Oh my God.
The uniforms were completely different back then.
Oh, the Ducks. Yeah,
The colors.
they rebranded. I forget when. I remember being a little kid and then rebranding. I must have been like maybe 10 or something or 12.
Yeah.
And they went to the word Anaheim, the orange and black. It's okay, I guess. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Brian also says your thoughts on Disney to spin ESPN off. Some say
sell ESPN, I guess.
I'm assuming it says sell.
Yeah.
Some say Disney lost billions and the FTX collapsed. It needs money to survive. There's no way Disney is hurting that bad.
Stock is tanking. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, if they sell ESPN, I guess that's kind of cool. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. They I think they kind of have ruined ESPN actually, and
Really?
I know Disney itself. They brought back an old CEO.
Yeah, that's right.
Take the company. Manny says Disney owns the world.
I mean, they own a lot of things, dude. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But you know what? The theme of today, and baseball over everything. That's all I could say. And I'm just so excited for this season. And it's just so nice to be here, talk with all of you guys, and get away from the nonsense on WFAN. Gio.
Was it tough out there?
Gio has to go. Oh, my
I don't like
God.
Gio either. He's a fucking idiot.
The biggest chief. I was texting Matt about this. I have to call in. I'm going to call in and just rip him. I don't care. I'm going to try it. I know he's going to get all tired and like cut me off, but it's like, you're not funny. It just nobody cares. That's the biggest thing. Nobody values or cares what you have to say. And he just kept spinning it to the Yankees with Correa. And it's like, we don't want Correa, Gio. Like, I don't understand what's so hard to understand about that. Like, it's like we have talent at shortstop in our organization. Like, we're excited about that. Why can't you just look at it from the Mets perspective? Why do you have to drag the Yankees into this? He's just
tight. He's just a tight person.
It's so ridiculous. And I just, and it cultivates obviously with Judge being named captain today, but it's like, I could not be more proud of the offseason for the Yankees. I mean, obviously, a couple of things you'd want to see is just more of addition by subtraction with a few guys to kind of round out this offseason. But it just in terms of, committing to Judge, name him the captain, bring back Rizzo, bring back Tommy Kahnle from a couple of years ago, strengthening that bullpen. And then Carlos Rodon. I mean, I'm ecstatic and I'm excited. And I think we are going to be vastly improved for next season. And they also did announce too, DJ LeMahieu does not need surgery. If he did, he would probably miss a couple months to start the season. He's already missed a lot of time and just has been bogged by injuries. So I think it's going to be really good to have him healthy for next season and hopefully be either our starting third or second baseman. I would imagine it's our third baseman. If Glaber's not traded, if he is, then I think naturally he would be the second baseman, unless he is the third baseman and they start Anthony Volpe. But I have a feeling, at least to start this season, Volpe will be in the minor leagues. But I think opening day we will see Peraza starting at shortstop.
Wow,
exciting stuff, Tony.
Very exciting stuff, dude. I just want to play, honestly.
Yeah,
hit a few dingers, dude.
I know. It's gonna be awesome too when the new game comes out with the new rosters.
You love the new rosters.
It kind of is about the rosters. Like it is
dude.
kind of
Verlander on the Mets, dude.
Yeah. The thing that's tough is though when they update the rosters, like someone goes on the injury list, you can't play with them if you have the live rosters.
Yeah, that is kind of tough.
So
I
you
guess
might have to be able to be Verlander though. I know you're gonna say but I get it.
Might not have to be DeGrom that much either, dude.
You're tight, dude. But I want to say too, as we wrap up today, I'm proud of us, Tony. I feel like we had a nice conversation. Nobody got crazy.
No.
And I think valid points were made all around.
Yeah, I think that our analysis is definitely on point. And we handled it professionally. And kudos to us, dude.
Yeah. And kudos to our fans because we obviously know, they are the best and we really appreciate all their support. But that being said, really like to thank everybody for tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee in costume, the merch, downtimetv.com. I want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.